ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ, ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀਓ। ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ। ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ, ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ। ਤਿਲਕ ਜੰਝੂ ਰਾਖਾ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਤਾਕਾ, ਕਿਨੋ ਵੱਡੋ ਕਲੂ ਮੈਂ ਸਾਕਾ। ਸਾਧਨ ਹੈ ਤਿਤੀ ਜਿਨ ਕਰੀ, ਸੀਸ ਦੀਆ ਪਰਸੀ ਨਾ ਉਚਰੀ। ਧਰਮ ਹੇਤ ਸਾਕਾ ਜਿਨ ਕੀਆ, ਸੀਸ ਦੀਆ ਪਰ ਸਿਰ ਨ ਦੀਆ। ਨਾਟਕ ਚੇਟਕ ਕੀਏ ਕੁਕਾਜਾ, ਪ੍ਰਭ ਲੋਗਨ ਕਹਿ ਆਵਤ ਲਾਜਾ। ਚੌਪਈ। ਠੀਕਰ ਫੋਰ ਦਲੀਸ ਸਿਰ, ਪ੍ਰਭ ਪੁਰ ਕੀਆ ਪਿਆਨ। ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਸੀ ਕਰਿਆ, ਕਰਹੀ ਨ ਕਿਨਹੂ ਆਨ। ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਕੇ ਚਲਤ, ਭਇਓ ਜਗਤ ਕੋ ਸੋਕ। ਹੈ ਸਭ ਜਗ ਭਇਓ, ਜੈ 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 ਸੁਰਲੋਕ। ਕਹਾ ਬੁੱਧ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਤੁਛ ਹਮਾਰੀ, ਬਰ ਨ ਸਕੈ ਮਹਿਮਾ ਜੋ ਤਿਹਾਰੀ। ਹਮ ਨਾ ਸਕਤ ਕਰ ਸਿਫਤ ਤੁਮਾਰੀ, ਆਪ ਲੇਹੋ ਤੁਮ ਕਥਾ ਸੁਧਾਰੀ। ਮੂਖ ਉਚਰੈ ਸ਼ਾਸਤਰ ਖਟ, ਪਿੰਗ ਗਿਰਨ ਚੜ੍ਹ ਜਾਏ। ਅੰਧ ਲਖੈ ਬਦਰੋ ਸੁਣੈ, ਜੋ ਕਾਲ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰਾਏ। ਡਡੌਤ ਬੰਧਨ ਅਨੇਕ ਬਾਰ, ਸਰਬ ਕਲਾ ਸਮਰੱਥ। ਡੋਲਨ ਤੇ ਰਾਖੋ ਪ੍ਰਭੂ, ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇ ਕਰ ਹੱਥ। ਬਾਣੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗੁਰੂ ਹੈ ਬਾਣੀ, ਵਿੱਚ ਬਾਣੀ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਸਾਰੇ। ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਕਹਿ ਸੇਵਕ ਜਨ ਮਾਨੈ, ਪ੍ਰਤੱਖ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਿਸਤਾਰੇ। ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਕਹਿ ਸੇਵਕ ਜਨ ਮਾਨੈ, ਪ੍ਰਤੱਖ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਿਸਤਾਰੇ।
ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ। ਸੋਰਠ ਮਹੱਲਾ ਨਾਵਾ। ਮਨ ਰੇ ਗਹਿਓ ਨਾ ਗੁਰ ਉਪਦੇਸ, ਕਹਾ ਭਇਓ ਜੋ ਮੂਢ ਮਡਾਇਓ। ਭਗਵੋ ਕੀਨੋ ਭੇਸ, ਮਨ ਰੇ ਗਹਿਓ ਨਾ ਗੁਰ ਉਪਦੇਸ। ਕਹਾ ਭਇਓ ਜੋ ਮੂਢ ਮਡਾਇਓ। ਭਗਵੋ ਕੀਨੋ ਭੇਸ, ਰਹਾਉ। ਸਾਚ ਛਾੜ ਕੇ ਝੂਠਾ ਲਾਗਿਓ, ਜਨਮ ਅਕਾਰਥ ਖੋਇਓ, ਕਰ ਪਰਪੰਚ ਉਦਰ ਨਿਜ ਪੋਖਿਓ, ਪਸ ਕੀ ਨਿਆਈ ਸੋਇਓ, ਰਾਮ ਭਜਨ ਕੀ ਗਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਨੀ, ਮਾਇਆ ਹਾਥ ਬਿਕਾਨਾ, ਉਰਜ ਰਹਿਓ ਬਿਖਿਆਨ ਸੰਗ ਬੌਰਾ, ਨਾਮ ਰਤਨ ਬਿਸਰਾਨਾ, ਰਹਿਓ ਚੇਤ ਨ ਚੇਤਿਓ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ, ਬਿਰਥਾ ਔਦ ਸਿਰਾਨੀ, ਕਹੋ ਨਾਨਕ ਹਰ ਬਿਰਦ ਪਛਾਨੋ, ਭੂਲੇ ਸਦਾ ਪੁਰਾਨੀ, ਮਨ ਰੇ ਗਹਿਓ ਨਾ ਗੁਰ ਉਪਦੇਸ਼।
ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਸਾਜੀ ਨਵਾਜੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀਓ, sitting in the company of the King of Kings, ਧੰਨ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ, the ਜਾਗਦੀ ਜੋਤ of Akal Purkh Vaheguru on this world. Let us join the Guru's Fateh, let us all join in. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Satguru Sahib Ji has blessed us all with these auspicious moments, really, with the ability to sit in the Sangat, to make sure that each and every breath of our body is being made successful. Over the last few months, Satguru Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Sache Paatshah Ji Maharaj, in remembrance of their 350th Shahidi Divas, we've been following their Bani, the meanings, been reflecting on their teachings contained in Dhan Satguru Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. And we have, over the last few weeks, been learning the 10 shabads, or learning about the teachings contained in the 10 shabads of Sorath Raag, which Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Sache Paatshah Ji Maharaj gave as spiritual instruction to the people of Raag. Prague is the place where Satguru Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji Maharaj are conceived, and then later they come into the world to bless us all in the 10th form, or as the 10th form of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Sahib. So we're going to be going through the last 3 shabads of the Updesh that was given to the Prague Sangat at that time. So let us focus our minds, let us concentrate on the Guru's teachings, and then try to reflect as to where we stand in our lives, and then try to form a union with Guru Sahib Ji's lessons, so that we can get closer to that Jyot of Akal Purkh Vaheguru within us. So, Satguru Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj were in the Sangat of Prague, and there was an individual who came, and this individual had what we refer to sometimes in Punjabi was a roda, or basically someone who hadn't kept his gaze. So, Monna Siga. And he was wearing Bhagave pace. Bhagava color is like the kind of peachy color that sadhus sometimes wear. So, he came into the company of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj, and he said to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj, कि साडा भी की हिसाब होगा, what's going to happen to us, साडा की हिसाब है, like what is our state of being, what's going to happen to us. And then to awaken him, because he was pertaining to be a saint in religious garb, in religious clothes, but he wasn't really following the hukam of Akal Purkh Vaheguru. Keeping case, Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj, when we see pictures of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, we see that they were accompanied by a Mussalman Rababi. Now this Mussalman effectively took on the teachings of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, they Sikh banaya. His first name was Marjana. his mother used to refer to, by Mardana ji we're talking about, his mother used to refer to him as Mar Jana. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj went to see his mother to call for Bhai Mardana ji. And she called out to him saying, Marjaniya, like come over here. Like basically called out to her son. When Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj asked the mother, he inquired, why do you refer to him as Marjana? She then related a tale saying that he had many siblings who were born before him. They were sare rog lag ke, they used to die. I think sometimes we forget how very lucky we are that we live in very kind of a clean environment compared to the past. In the past, people were affected by diseases like Haza, or what we call cholera, typhoid, drinking infected water which sewage had been pumped into. We've been saved from that kind of environment. People used to get bloated skin, to die. Their skin used to go bad, and they used to find their death very early in their lives. But Guru Sahib ne made karke over time, Siddhant as bauliyan sajaiyan, khoo theek kite Maharaj ne. Maharaj took away the disease of individuals by making water clean. So, not only in that way, Guru Sahib just in their words would make people live. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj said to the mother, do you want your son, the remaining son, to live? And she said, of course. The Maharaj said, you need to do two things. Ide case rakho. That was the first thing he said to her. Make sure you keep his hair. The second thing they said, कि आए गए साधुआं दी सेवा करनी. So, seva and keeping case, there are two vital lessons that a mother must give to her child. कि पुत सेवा करनी है, ते case रखने हैं. The kid will ultimately say, नहीं मैं रखने नहीं हैगे. I don't want to. But ultimately, if we negotiate with the children, or if we provide every other thing on condition, then it can be a condition that ਆਪਾਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਸਮਝਾ ਸਕੀਏ ਕਿ ਕੇਸ ਰੱਖੋ ਭਾਈ. I remember many years ago, in this country they're called Sure Start centres. They used to be around, I'm not sure if they still are. But they were for people of families, of broken families and like low-income families. And they were designed for mothers to bring their children, and they had like little nursery things that you could go and visit and do health checks and so forth. I'm sure some centres still exist. And back in the day, I got invited to Mansfield, which is not far from Nottingham, to talk to very, very young kids. Now these kids were like, I'm talking about nursery age kids, toddlers. They don't know but I didn't want to say no to them. And I remember at that time, I thought, ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਸਮਝਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ how to, they're not going to understand talk or anything like that. So I thought, I'll take some hand puppets. And there were some puppets of like gutti wali kids. There were like puppets of kids with gutti and different faiths. It was Muslim kid. It was like a set of puppets you could get. So I took this puppet. This is a long, long time ago when I first came to Sikhi, over 22 years, 21 years ago. At the place when we got there were a couple of mothers, and there was one kid who had long hair, little kid, Gora kid, long hair. I did a little puppet show behind the screen, made a little story up about this kid getting bullied because of his case, and then his old mother tells him about, like basically just inspired them a little bit about why we keep our case. They were Gore, obviously. Told them about the meaning of how and why we should have lambe case, and how a kid might have a juda on top and ramal on top because the puppet had one, so I thought. And at the end of the talk and everything, when I mentioned the Mahanta case, in there I also talked about Samson. Samson was a character from the Bible, the Christian Bible. His power was in his case. Bahut balwan si. And like no one could defeat him, and the emperors at the time, they said that if they can find out his secret, where his power lies, then we can defeat him. So they sent Delilah, who was a woman, to find out where his secret lied. And she found out that his secret was in his long case. So at night, she tricked him. They cut his case, basically. And when they cut his case, he lost his power, he was overpowered, he got imprisoned. Later, he does kind of ardas to Parmeshwar, give me back my power. And his case grew back again. Then he brings down the tower that he was in the dungeons of. So I had explained that story in there as well, about just so that the Gori understood. Because ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗੇ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਧਰਮ ਹੀ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਕੇਸ ਰੱਖੋ. And this lady came up to me at the end with a kid, and her kid was smiling, like kind of, he was really happy. Hasda si bacha. And she said, I've never seen my child be so attentive. He was only a little toddler at that time. And she said, you're not going to believe it. She had like an American accent. And I said, what have you got American accent for? You're in Mansfield. Why have you got American accent? She goes, I found my husband. I traveled over. I came from America. I live here now. I said, okay. She said, you know your story? Because I couldn't believe how much sense it made. It made so much sense to me as a mother. And I said, why is that? And she said, my child, when I take him to cut his hair at the barber's, he cries so much that he doesn't want me to touch his case. And I couldn't understand why I have to go through so much angst that my child is always so, I doesn't want to keep my... But she goes, after hearing your talk about case and hair, she goes, I'm not going to take him to the barbers anymore. I'm just going to let his hair grow long. So before I realized, you look at the effect of Sikhi and the prachar of Sikhi and the prachar of something that's natural. Hun case ya, Sanjay Nelson used to say, that if you take Kenchi to a head of any child, वो फिर हिंदू बनता, वो मुसलमान बनता, वो Christian बनता, वो Jew बनता. But if you leave the case as it is, the सारे बच्चे Sikh है. Think about it. Naturally, case is a natural phenomenon. ਤੇ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੇਸ ਆ ਜਦ ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਦਲਦੇ ਆ, ਜਦ ਕੱਟਦੇ ਆ, we cut across the nature of God itself. ਪੁਰਾਤਨ ਸਮੇਂ ਵਿੱਚ all the sadhus, all the rishis of the Hindu faith had case. ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਧਰਮਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ Jesus was born into a clan called the Nazarites. The overriding quality of the Nazarites from Nazareth were that they all had long case. That was their quality. But ਸਮੇਂ ਨਾਲ people have forgotten that original maryada, the original discipline. So obviously this sadhu had come to Guru Sahib and he was saying, Ki sada ki hal hoga? And then Maharaj says to him, look, you're not following Maharaj's key instructions. Ki hukum rajai chalana nanak likhya na. Hukum jada hai Parmeshwar da, don't cut across it. The keeping case, the meaning of keeping case is you live in the hukum of God, you accept it, accept His will, accept His raza. So ਆਪਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਕੈਂਚੀ ਲਾ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ at the start. And then ਫਿਰ ਆਪ ਵੀ ਵਰਤਦੇ ਆ, we pull, we color, we put, take the case out of a pause. ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਫਿਰ ਪ੍ਰੇਤ ਅੰਦਰ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ, ਹੋਰ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ. We don't realize it, but every pore in our body is devtaya. When I first got the inspiration to keep my case, because I dadi katta si pehla. I'm being honest, I've got nothing to lose. When I used to cut my case in the past, a Granthi Singh, his name is Gyani Joginder Singh, he used to be the head Granthi of East Park Road Gurdwara Sahib. and Anandpur Sahib previously. He was doing a Khandpad Sahib after our grandfather passed away. They did a part, a house, like Sahaj part of this, not Khandpad Sahib. Sahaj part ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ. And he was the singer who was doing the part. ਉਹ ਪਾਠ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ. And we got a chance to do the seva. And I remember him saying to me, Kuljit Singh, he said, do you know how many devate there are that the Hindu faith believe in? And I said, no. And he said, in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, it says there's 33 crore devata. 33 crore. 1 lakh is 100,000, 1 million is a crore. 10 lakh is a million, and then above that is a crore. So you can imagine just how much there is. I think it's 100,000 a crore is maybe. I might be wrong. He said, on your body, you've got the same amount of pores. You've got 3.3 crore devta on your body itself. ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਤਿਕਾਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ. And that kind of really made me think. So I've got that many angelic beings in my body. ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਕਦਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ. That was a turning point for me, thinking these guys are respect worthy. So ਇੱਥੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਮੋਨਾ ਆਇਆ ਸੀ, the sadhu wearing religious clothes, Maharaj says to him, listen up guy, you're not following the path properly, you need to sort yourself out. So case di mahanata bahut zaruri hai. It's very important that we leave them as they are as well. Ye apna meel patthar hai. You know when you go in India, your destination that you go to, on the side, the stones on the side will tell you this many kilometers left. Or in this country, you've got boards telling you mileage, don't you? Our case are mileage counter as well. They tell us ਹੀਰੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਚਿੱਟੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ, ਫਿਰ ਦੱਸਣ ਲੱਗ ਪੈਂਦੇ ਕਿ ਭਾਈ ਹੁਣ ਡੈਸਟੀਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਨੇੜੇ ਆ, ਹੁਣ ਵੀ ਸਮਝ ਲਾ. ਬੱਚਾ ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਸੋਹਣਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ with case. Look cute, don't they? Natural. But when we don't keep case, then we go against the maryada of Akal Purਖ Vaheguru, don't we? And the case are from the top of our head, ਚੋਟੀ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਪੈਰਾਂ ਤੱਕ, every single pore, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਬੇਅਦਬੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ. So we do, how much respect do we have? Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj tells the mother of Bhai Mardana Ji ਕਿ ਇਹਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਮਰ ਜਾਣਾ ਨਾ ਕਹੋ, ਇਹ ਮਰਦਾ ਨਾ ਆ, ਇਹਨੇ ਮਰਨਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ. And he is immortal. ਉਹਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਮੱਥਾ ਟੇਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ 2 ਸ਼ਬਦ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਵਿੱਚ, ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਦੇ. There's 2 ਸ਼ਬਦ in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ. And we matha take to them. They are immortal. And they didn't die. They stayed with Maharaj because her mother kept his gaze and she made sure he did seva. In that is the medicine itself. ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੰਨਦਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੇਸ ਰੱਖਣੇ, ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਮਨ ਨਾ ਕਰੇ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੇਸ, ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਦਾੜੀ ਕੱਟਣੀ ਹੈ, ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਕੱਟਣੇ ਆ ਉੱਪਰੋਂ, ਜੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰੇ ਮਨ, ਜੇ ਬੀਬੀ ਸੋਚੇ ਕਿ I'm going to pull it, I'm going to color it, I'm going to dye it, I'm going to thread it, then the large for that is Guru Di Seva. Je seva karonge, you'll get the power to keep it automatically. But we don't turn to seva either. Fir ki karonge? Fir to kuch bhi nahi hona. Fir ta aha hona jo Maharaj said to this person, this individual who had nothing on the top of his head. And he said, Maharaj, mera hisab ki hoga? Maharaj then tells him, let's focus our attentions and understand what Maharaj wants us to understand in today's hukam.
Satnam Sri Vaheguru Sahib Ji, Sorath Mahalla Nava.
Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj say in Sorath Raag,
Manre Gahyo na Gur Upadesh.
Oh my mind, Maharaj is instructing themselves, Gahyo na Gur Upadesh, tu Guru de hukum nu manniya hi nahi hega. Straight up. ਤੇ ਕੇਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਰੱਖੇ ਹੈਗੇ, therefore ਤੂੰ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਹੁਕਮ ਨੂੰ ਮੰਨਿਆ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, ਤਾਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਤੈਂ? What are you going to do? What are you going to achieve? ਕੇਸਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ. This is the key instruction. If there's anything that you don't do in this world, ਉਹ ਬਾਕੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ, But if there's one thing that you're going to definitely do, that is keep your case.
ਕਹਾ ਭਇਓ ਜੋ ਮੂਡ ਮਡਾਇਓ
Guru Sahib said, "Tu kaate ithe aaya? Why have you come here by cutting your hair on your head?" You know they say that it doesn't say in Gurbani anywhere you shouldn't keep your case. Maharaj is saying it straight. He's saying, "ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਿਰ ਤੇ ਕੇਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਗੁੰਮ ਰੱਖੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ ਰੋਡਾ ਬਣਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਤੂੰ say why aren't you keeping your case?" ਇਹਦਾ ਕੀ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਹੋਇਆ of you cutting your case in this way? ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਭਗਵਾਓ ਕੀਨੋ ਪੇਸ
You've got these kind of peach colored, saffron colored saint looking clothes on. That's no worth to us. Maharaj says your pehrava is no worth to us. You consider to be wearing certain clothing, religious clothing, but it's of no use to us, really. ਉਹਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਫਰਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਸਾਨੂੰ. Doesn't mean anything to us.
ਰਹਾਓ
So Maharaj says pause and reflect and understand what Maharaj is trying to say to us.
ਸਾਚ ਛਾੜ ਕੇ ਝੂਠਾ ਲਾਗਿਓ
Maharaj says you have given up the true path and you've attached yourself to the false path. And what is the false path? ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹ ਸੋਚੀਏ ਕਿ why do we actually take a kenchi to our case? Those people who have kept their case, everyone has their own understanding and opinion, right? But aam taur te, when you take a blade, when you color your case, when you do any sort of beadbi of your case, what is actually the internal reason? Why do we do it? Only we individually know why we do it. ਕੁਝ ਕੁ ਲੋਕ ਇਹ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ and sometimes we have ਕਿ ਮੇਰਾ ਵਿਆਹ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ. I'm not going to look presentable to the opposite gender. And that's internally already something not right, is it? Because your focus is on someone who's materialistic themselves. Nowadays, you'll find Singhs who will say, I'd rather have a bibi who would thread her eyebrows. They're not Singhs. They could be wearing the biggest chola out. They could be wearing the biggest dumalla out. But if they say that to a bibi, they're not Singhs in the eyes of Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji Maharaj. I'm going to share this with Abhijis because I think it's very important. Mahapurush Baba Thakur Singh Ji, who came to this country a few times in the late 90s, they went to South Hall. And at South Hall, this bibi came. She was possessed. There was kind of like a demonic being inside her that was speaking. And then there was also another awaj that was coming inside her saying that she was being protected. I'm going to cut a very short story short. Her husband used to do seva of Dyar bar Dyar Singhs, and he would never eat out from other places. Or he would only eat from places where Guru Khalsa would eat from, or he would cook his own food. He kept an element of babeg. His wife wasn't as strong. Somebody presented food to that lady that had done like koi jadoo toona kita hoga. It was intended for her husband because he used to do seva of Khadku Singhs in India, in Punjab, so that he would pass away or he would get affected. One ta shakya nahi, the bibi ate the food because she was a bit weaker in her rath, in her discipline. When you follow rath, you should try to follow, if you're married, you should try to follow it together. Because if one's weaker than the other, it affects the other person's rath. It's very important to understand that. So if the bibi is doing her eyebrows and the Singh is keeping his case, because they have a physical relationship in a relationship, they're married, it affects that Singh's rath as well. Aam galan dasiyan nahi jandiyan, but they should be taught. Similarly, if the Singh is weak in his rath, in his discipline as a Gursikh, Ma, Sharab, Adak, Shakda, whatever, and the bibi is trying to be Nitnemi and take Amrit and whatever, her rath is affected by his imbecility. Imbecility ya aur ki hai? Weakness, keh lo. So this bibi, she had a black energy inside her, and she was also pregnant. And she was saying that jadel that was inside her, that black magic that someone done, was trying to kill the baby inside her womb. And she was possessed as Chika Mardi. She was like all over the place. When Babaji, when they came in, she wouldn't come into the house. They had to push her into the house. And they got the joda of Baba Thakur's and you put it in her head. She calmed down a little bit and they came in. Then Babaji ordered the Singhs to do Chaupe Sahib 24 hours around, or Chaupe Sahib Parn Lage. They had a Siri Sahib in front of her. She calmed down. And suddenly, this second Awaj came out of her. And the other Awaj was like more kind of brazen, more like Birasi type. And it was, the Singhs asked her and said, who are you? And they said, we're Shaheed Singhs. We're protecting this child and we're looking after the child because her husband has done seva of Khadku Singhs and Shaheed Singhs in the past. And that's why we're looking after her. We're not going to let anything happen to this baby. And then the Singhs asked them a question. So they said, we really need Shaheed Singhs and their ruha and their souls to come into this world again. We need you here. And you know what the reply was? And this is the most important thing. The reply was, we're always ready to come and take Janam again. But there's not enough bibiyan ho keeping rat. They're not keeping Panjikakari rat. And because of that, we can't take birth. Look at their words. And this is all speaking in this, that bibi. Baba did Kirpana and they obviously took out whatever, the negativity out. They all, bacha, after many years, after a couple of years, got a chance to see him. He was born afterwards as well. When Janami Lea and the singing was fine as well. Husband was fine. Husband had a construction company in the West Midlands. So, look at the lessons. They're very important. The Jiri Mara ne Rat dasiya sanu, that discipline, maas nahi shakna, case rakhne, kesan di beadbi nahi karni, don't take any intoxicants, don't do adultery. Those 4 key bachans that Maharaj have given us will bring good souls into this world. But only if we follow it. Apa hat jahiye to do this beyond being like. The word sunaya hoga kales. No, kales is, arguments. Kales happen externally, don't they? Arguments happen externally, but actually they're an externalization of the kales that's going inside of us. The panj kalesh manne gaya, I'm not going to go through all of them, but panj kalesh manne gaya, internal ones. The first one, very, very briefly, is avidya, not having knowledge. Second one is called asamta. Asamta is where you think whatever you own and you have an ego over that. Third one is called Raag. That's like not knowing the boundaries of your love, so it go towards attachment. Hatred. And the last one, which was the one I want to talk about, is called Abhinivesh. Abhinivesh is basically when you're so stubborn that you're going to say, Maharaj, jo marji tusi kaho jo, marji tusi kahi jo, main manni nahi thodi gal. Stubbornness, basically. The Guru Sahib say, case rakho man nahi, I'm not going to keep it. मैं तो अपना काम करना जो करना ते ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਅਭਿਨਿਵੇਸ਼ ਨਾਲ ਡਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਮੌਤ ਦਾ fear of death. So it's actually a massive kales internally that is preventing us from following Guru Sahib's instructions, and that's why seva is important, because when you do seva, mail nikal diya, and you wash away your mail, and then your mind becomes more open to following the instructions of Guru Sahib. So Maharaj ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਚ ਛਾੜ ਕੇ ਝੂਠਾ ਲਾਗਿਓ. Maharaj says you walked on the path of falsity instead. And this janam that you've been given, you're wasting it away aimlessly. You fill your stomach, udhar ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ stomach ਨੂੰ, ਢਿੱਡ ਨੂੰ, you fill your stomach with foods, parpanch, kar parpanch, and you do massive shows of your wealth. ਕਿ ਆਪਣਾ ਜਿਹਦਾ ਵਿਆਹ ਸ਼ਾਦੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਪੰਪ ਮਾਰਦੇ ਆ ਆਪਣਾ ਪਰਿਵਾਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ, like how much we spend 70-80 grand on ਹੌਲ ਤੇ ਹੌਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਤੇ 20 ਪਾਉਂਡ ਦਾ ਰੁਮਾਲਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਓਨੈਸਟਲੀ। ਉੱਥੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੇਰ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਆ, ਚੰਗੇ ਰਾਗੀ ਸਿੰਘਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਾਇਆ ਦੇਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਆ। ਇੱਥੇ ਪੱਖੇ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਆ, ਇੱਥੇ ਗਰਮੀ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਆ, ਪਰ ਹੌਲ 'ਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਗਰਮੀ ਲੱਗਦੀ। ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਬੋਤਲਾਂ ਫੜੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ, ਹੈਂਕਰਚੀਫ ਫੜੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ। ਉੱਥੇ ਭਜਨ ਬੰਦਗੀ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਉੱਥੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੁਛ ਚੱਲਦਾ। ਫਿਰ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਪੈਸੇ ਦੇ, ਡੀਜੇ ਨੂੰ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਪੈਸੇ ਦੇਈ ਜਾਓ। ਉਹ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਘਰ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਲੜਦਾ ਹੋਵੇ, he goes home and has 5 types of ਕਲੇਸ਼, all those 5 things, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਦੇ ਤੇਰੀ ਦੀ ਮਾਇਆ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਆਪਾਂ। ਪਰ ਇੱਥੇ ਗ੍ਰੰਥੀ ਸਿੰਘ ਕੋਲ ਰੱਖ ਦਿਓ, ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਆਪਾਂ। ਚੰਗਾ ਰੁਮਾਲਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਦਿੱਤਾ, ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈਗਾ। ਸਹਿਜ ਪਾਠ ਨਾ, ਨਹੀਂ ਸਹਿਜ ਪਾਠ ਨਹੀਂ, ਅਖੰਡ ਪਾਠ ਛੇਤੀ ਹੋਵੇ ਕੰਮ। We have that mentality, don't we? Put Guru Sahib first. Have the best Ramala possible, most expensive, most beautiful Ramala for Guru Sahib. Get amazing Kirtani to come to your wedding, amazing Kathavachaks to talk at your wedding. Be simple and modest yourself. Spend time in the company of Guru Sahib. Spend time doing Dhan on people who need it most. You're going to spend £70,000 on a wedding, more than that nowadays. ਉਹ £70,000 ਕਿਸੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਦੀ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਦੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਈ ਕਰਾ ਦਿਓ, ਗਰੀਬ ਦੀ। How many kids ਪੜ੍ਹਾਈ you gonna do? ਕਿਸੇ ਸ਼ਹੀਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਦੀ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਦੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਘਰ ਬਣਾ ਦਿਓ, £70,000. How much is that in Indian money? Think. We don't think. But ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰਪੰਚ ਹੈ, ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ। That's ਪ੍ਰਪੰਚ, ostentatious shows, you know, like really elaborate shows। ਆਪਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਆ। ਫਿਰ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਛ ਕਰ ਕਰਾ ਕੇ ਨਾ ਫਿਰ ਪਸ਼ੂਆਂ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਸੌਂਦੇ ਆ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸਹੀ ਨੇ ਸਟ੍ਰੇਟ। ਫਿਰ ਪਸ਼ੂ ਵਾਂਗੇ ਨੀਂਦ ਆ ਗਈ ਬਸ। ਫਿਰ ਪਸ਼ੂ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਜੀਵਨ ਆ ਨਾ। Maharaj says this is what the state is of our society at the moment as well. So we haven't realized the elaborateness of bhajan bandagi. Simran bhajan karna, Ram bhajan ki gat nahi jani, wo to jani nahi hai what actually is going to be of use to us. Instead we sold our souls to Maya and the illusion. So you madman, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj is saying, Urj rahe ho bhikhyan sang baura. Baura ਕਹਿੰਦੇ mad person, you crazy person. You've got saintly clothes on, ਉੱਪਰੋਂ ਕੇਸ ਕੱਟੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ, ਤੈਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ are saying to the sadhu who's presented, and they're saying, you've attached yourself to poison of this world. The poison is working off people's, money, taking in their maya. ਮੈਂ ਤੇਰਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਦੂੰਗਾ, a little bit of spiritual power you get, ਮੈਂ ਤੇਰਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਦੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ, you give me this much maya. But that's all poison, isn't it? ਹਾਂਜੀ। The jewel of the Naam has been forgotten. You stay so ignorant. Achet means spiritually ignorant. And you've not thought about the true creator of this world who gives power to every individual to breathe. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਪਰਮੇਸ਼ਰ। You've forgotten about him. And in this way your age is running out. Aud ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ age ਨੂੰ, sirani means being wasted. So Maharaj, ਸਾਡਾ ਕੀ ਹੋਊਗਾ ਫਿਰ? Then obviously that ਭਗਵੇ ਭੇਸ ਵਾਲਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੇਸ ਕਟਾ ਕੇ ਰੋਡਾ ਆਇਆ ਸੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ, ਇਸੇ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਫਿਰ ਸਾਡਾ ਕੀ ਹੋਊਗਾ? ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰੋ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਚਾਓ। And then Maharaj says, ਕਹੋ ਨਾਨਕ ਹਰ ਬਿਰਧ ਪਛਾਣੋ। ਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਜੀ ਮਿਹਰ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੇ। ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ say, ਹਰ ਬਿਰਧ ਪਛਾਣੋ। You've fallen in the sanctuary, you're asking for forgiveness, aren't you? ਭੂਲੇ ਸਦਾ ਪਰਾਨੀ। ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਸਦਾ ਹੀ ਭੁੱਲਣਹਾਰ ਸਮਝੋ। Maharaj says, always consider yourself to be somebody who is full of mistakes. Don't ever think that you've achieved anything, because you ain't achieved anything to this individual. This is what Maharaj is telling us. In the next Hukamnama, Satguru Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj highlight 19 qualities of true Gursikhs. ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਬ੍ਰਹਮ ਗਿਆਨੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ। What is a Brahm Gyani? 19 different qualities. ਹਾਂਜੀ। ਸੋਰਠ ਮਹੱਲਾ ਨਵਾ। Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj Sorath Raag ਵਿੱਚ ਫਰਮਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਨ, that blesses in this hukamnama.
Jo nar dukh मैं दुख नहीं मानै.
Jo nar, that being in the midst of pain, does not see pain. So, you know, when we think we're suffering with something, they don't consider themselves to suffer. Jo nar dukh mein dukh nahi manna. So, someone who doesn't consider themselves to be dukhi when they're suffering, materialistically, physically, if they've got a disease, they don't say, "Hi, oy mar gaya main." They live in the will of Vaheguru. If somebody has got some sort of pareshani or stress in their life, they don't consider themselves to be stressed. They think, chalo, there's somebody else in a worse place than me. Fir bhi main shukr kara Maharaj da, te Maharaj ne saadi rakhiya ਕੀਤੀ ਹੋਈ ਆ. I've still got a roof on top of my head. Jo nar dukh mein dukh nahi manna. That person who doesn't feel pain in the midst of pain.
सुख स्नेहो अर्पै नहीं जाकै.
In the midst of comforts, he doesn't forget Vaheguru. They don't chase after the comforts of the world. Saneho, o prem nahi rakh reha with the dunya wale pardarth. They don't look for the materialistic love of this world. That's the second quality. Sukh saneho. They're not attached to the comforts of this world. Arpa.
अर्पै नहीं जाकै.
Arpa nahi jaake. And they're not scared. Unan de man ch dar nahi kisi cheez da. They don't fear anyone. That's the third quality of a Brahmgyani. They don't fear. Kahu ko det neh peh manat an. They're nirpao and they're nirvair. So they don't give fear to anyone. They're not scared of anyone either. So unan de man ch dar nahi kisi cheez da.
कंचन माटी मानै.
Kanchan, unan samne ढेर ला के सोना रख दो. If you put hundreds and thousands of tons of gold in front of them, it doesn't affect them. They're not going to go over it. Oh, it's sona inna aa gaya. They don't get excited by wealth. It doesn't matter to them. They stay ikras, mati. And if they put like gribi in front of them, they don't get affected by gribi either. They say, oh, hukum ch man ke rehndे hai ke Maharaj ne sanu aukha sama deta hai, aapa guzar lena bhai. So they see gold as dust and they see dust as gold. So they're not affected by the illusion of Maya, and they're not affected by garibi or poverty either. Right? They're not affected by that. Hanji. So Maharaj says, pause and reflect. Vishram de ke Satguru Maharaj kirpa karde han.
नह निंद्या नह औसत जाकै.
Kisi di nindya nahi sunde o karde. They don't listen to slander of anyone, and they don't certainly do it by their own mouth either. Neh ustat. You'll never find them praising anyone except for Akal Purv Vaheguru. They won't spend their time praise. मैं कुछ दिन पहला वीडियो देख रहा सी कवीश्वर ਸਿੰਘ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਬਰਗਾੜੀ ਤੋਂ ਸਿੰਘ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਆ ਉਹ ਕਵੀਸ਼ਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਕਵਿਤਾ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਸਟੇਜ ਤੋਂ as they were doing the kavita on the stage ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪ੍ਰਬੰਧਕ ਸੀ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦਾ ਉਹਨੇ ਮਾਈਕ ਫੜ ਲਿਆ as the kavita was going on ਮਾਈਕ ਫੜ ਕੇ ਉਹ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗਾ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਹਰਮਨ ਪਿਆਰੇ SGPC ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਆਏ ਨੇ ਫਲਾਨਾ ਧਮਕਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ and then the guy who was doing the kavita, he was somebody with awakened consciousness. ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਪ੍ਰਚਾਰਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਸ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਵੀ ਕਹਿ ਦੇ ਯਥਾ ਤਥਾ ਕੋਈ ਪ੍ਰਬੰਧਕ ਕਹਿ ਦੇਵੇ ਉਹ ਡਰ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਬਸ they not like that type. He spoke up straight away. He said, ਭਾਈ ਇਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਬੇਅਦਬੀ ਆ ਇਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਜਸ ਦੀ ਬੇਅਦਬੀ ਆ you've just done ਬੇਅਦਬੀ disrespected the praise of Akal Purv Vaheguru in his darbar by stopping the kavita being said and praising a materialistic person. Same thing happened when Indira Gandhi came and Sant Kartar Singh ne ਕਹਿ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਸੀ stage ਤੋਂ when all the Gursikhs stood up because the Prime Minister of India had come. Guru Sahib ਆਵੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਖੜਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਸਤਿਕਾਰ ਵਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਖੜਦਾ. And what happens when Indira Gandhi walked in, Sant Kartar Singh gave ਲਾਨਤਾਂ to the Sikhs and said, ਤੂੰ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਆ? In the company of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, doesn't matter who comes in, the President of India can come in, the President of America could come in, but you don't stand up for out of respect for them. You're sitting in the court of the King of Kings. That's ustat. So those true saints, oh, they don't spend futile time pumping someone up to their face. They're not like that. Because when people pump others to their face, they're doing it because they want something from that individual. They flatter that individual, don't they? They're not true saints. ਉਸਤਤ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ
ਲੋਭ ਮੋਹ ਅਭਿਮਾਨਾ
they haven't got lobe in them, greed in them. They haven't got more. They haven't got no attachment to anything in their life. Abhimana, they don't have no ego in them.
ਹਰਖ ਸੋਗ ਤੇ ਰਹਿ ਨਿਆਰੋ
Hark, they don't spend time just being happy. Or, they don't get, ਜੇ ਬਹੁਤਾ ਹੱਸਦੇ ਆ ਆਪਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਰੋਣਾ ਵੀ ਨਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਆ. That's an old saying. And I remember my parents used to say it to me. I never used to understood it. When you get too charmleo when you're young kids and you start laughing so much and and then what happens? Koi sat vaj jandi fir pata lagda koi cheez ho jandi and then you cry, don't you, just as much. And actually those words were true. So hark vich jade khushi vich ja sog vich somebody passes away to roi jana pitna apne sareer nu marna. Gursikhs don't do that. We live in the pana of Vaheguru. Live in the hukam of Vaheguru. So Maharaj says hark sog. So neither too happy, neither too sad. A true Brahmgyani is not in those two states. They stay unique from that, detached from it. Neither do they have koi kasar in them that they want people to recognize them. Ki mera respect hove, main respect worthy banda aya, meri jai jaikar hove. A lot of saints nowadays are like that, unfortunately. There's very few and far between who got all these 19 qualities in them. Very few and far between. Bahut rare ho gaya. There was a time in our Sikh Panth where they could be found in virtually every village. Ek parivar chon ek bacha sant banda si purane samay vich. You might remember that one person used to be devoted, given to Guru Kar, the other child would go materialistic and look after the house. Aaj koi sant banna chaਹੁੰਦਾ nahi haga. No one wants to do it anymore. True sons, not these libas wearing types individuals come here ਇੱਥੇ ਪੰਪ ਮਾਰਦੇ ਆਣ ਕੇ ਸਟੇਜਾਂ ਤੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਫਿਰ ਜ਼ਮੀਨਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਗਾਇਬ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ. It's true. It's the truth. This is the truth. We see them as saints in this world, but when you go back in India, they're taking land off people. They're like, that doesn't belong to them. So Maharaj says here, they don't have no desire for man, honor. They don't want it. ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਲ ਨਾ ਹੀ ਆਵੇ ਕੋਈ. ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਸਾਧੂ ਸੀ, he got a dog, he got a lady who would swear all the time, and he ਨਾਲ ਕੋਲ ਸੋਟੀ ਵੀ ਰੱਖੀ ਨੇ ਮਾਰਨੇ ਕੁੱਟਣੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ. He was a true saint as well, not one of those pomp type ones. So when anyone would come, the woman would swear at everyone, the dog would bark at everyone, and then if anyone got past that, ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਸੋਟੀ ਵੀ ਚੱਕ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਸੀ, ਭੱਜ ਜਾ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਨਾ. Then one guy, he was very wise. He made prasad, he got rotiyan and gave it to the dog. The dog became his friend. He started wagging his tail as walking around him. The bibi kol jad gaya, he had bought about 5 suits for her. Unu suit fara te oh badi jajakar karan lag pi ke te suit leande mere putt ne mere waste. When they got to the saint, ਉਹਨੇ ਡੰਡਾ ਚੁੱਕਿਆ. The saint, he goes, ਮਾਰ ਲੋ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਮਾਰਨਾ. He goes, ਤੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਗਿਆ? How did you get here? He goes, ਬਸ ਆ ਦੇਖ ਲੋ ਕੁੱਤਾ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਮਿੱਤਰ ਬਣ ਗਿਆ. ਬੀਬੀ ਨੂੰ ਸੂਟ ਦੇ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਬਸ. He goes, ਤੂੰ ਆ ਜਾ ਤੂੰ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ, ਤੂੰ ਵਧੀਆ ਬੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਤੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਗਿਆ ਜੁਗਤੀ. So he taught him everything after that. Purane samay vich Mahapurush used to be takade with things as well. They would tell him ki tum banda ban ja ki nahi banda. They would be a bit soti naal bhi ho janda kam in the back days, in the old days. But nowadays, neither is someone got the ability to tolerate someone telling them off, and neither is the saint who's got the spiritual quality to tell someone off and then give him the kirpa and the blessing to put him on the path. ਉਹ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਿਹਾ. ਪਰ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰਨ, ਇਹ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਤੋਂ. ਕਦ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦਾ ਭਾਰ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਵੀ ਆ ਨਾ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਜਿਹਾ ਮਨੁੱਖਾਂ ਤੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਆ. On their shoulders, these sadhus, these true Brahmgyani saints, they still exist and they will always exist. So Maharaj says, apaman. And even if you swore at a saint, ਉਹਨੇ ਕੋਈ ਸੋਚਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਮੇਰੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਗਾਲਾਂ ਕੱਢਦਾ. ਉਹਨੇ ਨਹੀਂ, they don't think. They're beyond that. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ look at how much we know that from Guru Tegh Bahadur. Look at how much the relatives of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj said about Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj. They just ignored it. Teer, Mal, they even shot at Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj. So they used to insult Guru Sahib, but Maharaj never used to consider it anything. So they're beyond apaman, they're beyond man as well. And then these extra qualities that we should understand what true saints are. Asa, they have no hope for materialistic wishes ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਮਨ 'ਚ ਕੋਈ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਹ ਗੱਡੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਮੈਂ ਦੇ not interested in it ਕੋਈ ਦੇ ਦੇਵੇ ਵੱਖਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ but they're not interested in it mansa they don't have no desire either materialistic desire they don't have no desire within their mind ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਹ ਬੀਬੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਹੋਵੇ ਆਹ ਬੰਦਾ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਹੋਵੇ ਆਹ ਮੈਨੂੰ they don't have no ਵਿਕਾਰ in them they don't have no ਕਾਮ ਕ੍ਰੋਧ ਲੋਭ ਹੰਕਾਰ in them they don't have that lust ਆ ਹੁਣ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮਰਜੀ ਬਾਬਾ ਦੇਖੋ ਫੜਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਬੀਬੀ ਨਾਲ I won't be honest like in India this is the state now look what's happening look at what's happening all the female type saints look at what they're doing with the males behind closed doors everyone is doing stuff that is considered to be lustful if Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj came at this point they would have laid the smack down on everyone by now but this is what the world we're in so Guru Sahib is saying asa no desire for materialistic wealth mansa they have no wish that I've got lust anger greed attachment kuch nahi ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈ they have no attachment to the things that we would consider vices sagla tyag hai they've given it all up ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਜਗ ਤੇ ਰਹਿ ਨਿਰਾਸਾ
and they live in this world unique alipt niras they have no desire desireless they live desirelessly in this world
ਕਾਮ ਕ੍ਰੋਧ ਜਹ ਪਰਸੈ ਨਾਹਨ
neither do they have calm lust in them neither are they affected by krodh either by anger either but on the face of it on top of it to make someone understand they may raise their voice that's something else jin pat andar bahar guddar te bhale sansar Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj says on the outside on the inside they are silk satin but on the outside they might sound rough they might say to people bhaj ja ithon ki karna itthe but internally they are attuned to Vaheguru rang hassai rang rove chup phi kar jahe parwah nahi kisai keri baaj sache na they rang hassai they might laugh you might be thinking these guys are going crazy rang hassai rang rove fir kai vi ron vi lapande a chup phi kar jahe chup vi dhar lende ke jisko quiet silent parwah nahi kisai keri but they have no parwah for the world ਕਿਸੇ ਕੇਰੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਦੀ no ਪ੍ਰਵਾਹ no carefree ਬਾਜ ਸੱਚੇ ਨਾ apart from ਅਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ they're just interested in their relationship with God and nothing else so neither are they affected by calm lust krodh ਜੇ ਪਰਸੈ ਨਾਹਨ
ਤਹਿ ਕਟ ਬ੍ਰਹਮਨ ਵਾਸਾ
these 19 qualities that Maharaj have related to us if they've got these 19 qualities Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj say ਤਹਿ ਘਟ ਬ੍ਰਹਮ Nivasa. Vaheguru lives in the heart of that individual. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਵਸਦਾ ਆ if they've got these 19 qualities.
ਗੁਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਜਹ ਨਰ ਕੋ ਕੀਨੀ
So if with Guru's kirpa, if any individual or human being has got these qualities inside of them,
ਤਹਿ ਜਗਤ ਪਛਾਨੀ
they realize Akal Purkh Vaheguru instantaneously.
ਨਾਨਕ ਲੀਨ ਪਾਇਓ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿਓ
And they merge into Akal Purkh Vaheguru as
ਜੋ ਪਾਣੀ ਸੰਗ ਪਾਣੀ
just imagine if you take a glass of water out of an ocean then you put it back into the ocean ਉਹ glass ਨਹੀਂ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਜਿੰਨਾ glass ਉਹ ਕਦੇ ਦਿਸਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਪਾਣੀ ਉਹ glass ਵਾਲਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਗਿਆ ਸਮੁੰਦਰ ਵਿੱਚ no it's just merged into it in that way that Gursikh is merged into Akal Purkh Vaheguru in the same way ਆਖਰ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਅੱਗੇ ਕੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ
ਸੋਰਠ ਮਹਲਾ ਨਾਵਾ
Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj in this last shabd for the Praag Sang the 12 shabds I said 10 earlier on but it's actually 12 shabds that were given as Upadesh to Guru Tegh to the Sangat of Praag Guru Sahib blesses they say
ਪ੍ਰੀਤਮ ਜਾਨ ਲਹੋ ਮਨ ਮਾਹੀ
the beloved Akal Purkh Vaheguru has been realized in the mind
ਆਪਣੇ ਸੁਖ ਸਿਓ ਹੀ ਜਗ ਫਾਦਿਓ
and with that realization that Brahmgyani saint that we've just been talking about with the 19 qualities what are they perceiving what are they seeing the world as they're saying ਆਪਣੇ ਸੁਖ ਸਿਓ ਹੀ ਜਗ ਫਾਂਦੇ everyone's over they're all interested in their own sukh and their own comforts
ਕੋ ਕਾਹੂ ਕੋ ਨਾਹੀ
no one is really interested in true love with the individual
ਰਹਾਉ
so pause and reflect Guru Sahib say on that teaching
ਸੁਖ ਸੁਖ ਮੈਂ ਆਨ ਬਹੁਤ ਮਿਲ ਬੈਠ
In the midst of comforts, everyone will be your friend and come and trying to be your relative.
रहत चहु दिस घेरा
They'll stay and surround you saying, yeah, बहुत ਵਧੀਆ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਹੋ ਗਈ, ਵੱਡੀ ਗੱਡੀ ਲੈ ਲਈ ਹੈ, ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਘਰ ਲੈ ਲਿਆ, ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਜੌਬ ਹੈ ਤੇਰੀ.
ਬਿਪਤ ਭਰੀ ਸਭ ਹੀ ਸੰਗ ਛਾੜਤ
The moment that you're going to get stressed out, the moment that you get into any difficulty, all your relatives and your friends who were there, who were surrounding you at that point, when you need it most, they're going to turn away from you. They're not going to be your supporter.
ਕਉ ਨ ਆਵਤ ਨੇੜਾ
ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨੇੜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਣਾ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ. No one's going to be your support at that time.
ਘਰ ਕੀ ਨਾਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਹਿਤ ਜਾਸਿਓ
Your partner, your wife or your husband, in this case it says wife, who you have got so much infatuation and attachment to.
ਸਦਾ ਰਹਤ ਸੰਗ ਲਾਗੀ
She was always near you, always supporting you, always being there, like trying to be around you at all times, wanting you at all times.
ਜਬ ਹੀ ਹੰਸਤ ਜੀ ਇਹ ਕਾਇਆ
The moment that the soul comes out of your body, that same wife
ਪ੍ਰੇਤ ਪ੍ਰੇਤ ਕਰ ਭਾਗੀ
will then say, ਕਿ ਇੱਥੇ ਤਾਂ ਪ੍ਰੇਤ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕੋਈ. You know, when that person dies, after the person dies, you have that feeling, ਕਿ I see a soul here. They're going to say about that husband. Her husband's just gone, and then that same wife can say, I can feel a soul here, I can feel some energy here. ਉੱਥੇ ਫਿਰ ਭੂਤ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਆ, ਭੂਤ ਆ ਤਾਂ. The same wife is saying, you're my beloved, is now saying ਭੂਤ to that same individual.
ਇਹ ਬਿਦ ਕਉ ਵਿਵਹਾਰ ਬਨਿਓ ਹੈ
Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj says, this is the way of the world.
ਜਾਸਿਓ ਨੇਹੋ ਲਗਾਇਓ
And this is the world that we're attached to and we have love with. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj say, and this is the world that we need to discard. This is the attachments that we need to discard.
ਅੰਤ ਬਾਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਬਿਨ ਹਰਿ ਜੀ
In the last moments, in our last most sacred moments, and when we need it most, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj says,
ਕਉ ਕਾਮ ਨ ਆਇਓ
no one's going to be of your support except for Akalpur Vaheguru or the saints of Akalpur Vaheguru who have got this realization in this Shabd. So, aakhri pankti padh ke samapti hai ji. We'll learn in the next few rags what Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj's teachings are next Sunday. Let's all join at 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. and taking the reflections of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj in this way. Pulla Chukan di Khima Bakshni ji. आखिरी पंक्ति पढ़ के समाप्ति है जी. व्यवहार बन्यो है जास्यो ने हो लगायो अंत बार नानक बिन हर जी कोन काम ना आयो. वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी